They say beauty comes with pain, and the Indian Scout Bobber proves it on two wheels. It's the kind of bike that makes strangers stare, engines rumble, and riders fall in love. But here's the question that separates impulse from investment. Is it just a pretty face, or a machine you can actually trust for years? At the center of every Scout Bobber beats Indian's 1,133cc liquid-cooled DOHC 4-valve per-cylinder V-twin. Been around since 2015, refined through years of use in the regular Scout lineup, and surprisingly modern for something that looks so old school. We're talking about 100 horsepower and roughly 72 pound-feet of torque, numbers that would make a Harley 48 blush. The 6-speed gearbox shifts crisp, the clutch is light, and because it's belt-driven, maintenance is refreshingly low. Owners report that these engines run strong for tens of thousands of miles with little more than oil changes. As one mechanic put it, the Scout's engine doesn't quit, it just gets louder. The upcoming 2025 Scout Bobber steps things up to a new 1,250cc engine with 105 horsepower, provides electronics, and a recall already sorted for a false neutral indicator. But the core reliability DNA remains the same: tough, predictable, and happy to rev harder than your average cruiser. And before we move on, make sure to subscribe because it's going to get even more interesting. A lot of riders confuse reliability with comfort. The Scout Bobber is mechanically dependable, but it's not kind. On smooth asphalt, it's pure joy. With the stock rear suspension, it's like strapping yourself to a sledgehammer with style. That slammed bobber look comes at the price of 2 inches of rear travel, less than a skateboard. Hit one pothole too many and your spine might file a complaint. One owner joked, "I love my Scout so much I can feel every inch of the road, literally." Luckily, reliability problems from the suspension are rare. It doesn't break, it just hurts. Swapping to Indian's adjustable piggyback shocks or aftermarket units transforms the ride and gives you a sturdier, more composed bike that won't rattle its bolts loose. Even the best bikes have their little gremlins, and the Indian Scout Bobber's no exception. Thankfully, its issues are more like mild annoyances than serious breakdowns. Heat's the first and most common complaint. Sure, the engine's liquid-cooled, but at the end of the day, it's still a 60-degree V-twin with a lot of metal packed tightly between your legs. In city traffic, the frame rails and exhaust pipes can double as a free thigh tanning salon. It's nothing dangerous, just uncomfortable in hot climates. So maybe skip the shorts if you're riding through Chennai. Keeping the coolant fresh and the radiator clean helps prevent any hot soak behavior after shutdown. But then there's the fuel pump drama. Some owners report that after long rides in high heat, the pump gets a bit shy, needing a few minutes before priming again. This isn't a design disaster, just a voltage or relay quirk. Replacing the pump or ensuring a healthy battery usually fixes it for good. Speaking of batteries, weak voltage is the Bobber's third common hiccup. Roughly 90% of my bike won't start posts come down to tired batteries. The starter demands serious amperage, so a battery tender at home is your best friend. None of these gremlins are catastrophic, they're minor quirks that remind you, even the coolest bikes need a little care. Reality doesn't just fall from the sky, it's built with oil, torque wrenches, and a stack of service receipts. The Indian Scout Bobber might look like a rebellious outlaw, but underneath that attitude is a machine that quietly thrives on discipline. Indian recommends an initial service at around 500 miles to flush out the factory break-in oil and retorque critical components. After that, it's smooth sailing with routine checks and oil changes roughly every 5,000 miles. The valve clearance inspection interval sits around the 20,000 mile mark, but here's the best part. Most owners report 0 adjustments needed. That's a sign of a well-engineered, tightly machined engine. The belt drive is another low-stress hero. Keep it clean, keep it tensioned, and it'll outlast your rear tire. No chain grease, no mess, and no drama. Add in the hydraulic clutch, no cables to stretch or snap, and you got one less headache to think about. The liquid-cooled design also deserves praise. Keeps the engine temperature steady in traffic, sparing riders from the air-cooled heat fade that plagues some American V-twins. Wear and tear items like brake pads, tires, and batteries follow normal lifespans, though those chunky 16-inch tires can cost a bit more to replace. Still, they're part of the Bobber's signature stance, so most riders don't complain. As for the new generation 2025 Scout Bobber, apart from a minor display recall already fixed by dealers, there's no wave of reliability complaints so far. Indian's response has been fast and transparent, something that earns real confidence in today's motorcycle market. One owner summed it up perfectly. Only reason I've been to the dealer in 4 years is for free coffee. That's the kind of reliability every rider wants. Steady, proven and refreshingly unproblematic. A motorcycle can be mechanically bulletproof yet physically punishing. The Indian Scout Bobber is the textbook example of that paradox. It's a machine built to turn heads before it ever worries about your spine. With its blackout engine, chopped fenders, wide tires, and aggressive low bars, the Bobber screams attitude. But after an hour on the highway, you'll start wishing the fuel tank were just a little bigger. Not for range, so you have an excuse to pull over and stretch. Here's the thing though, discomfort doesn't mean unreliability. Those stiff shocks and firm seats don't fail, they just remind you that beauty sometimes bites back. Many owners fix it easily with a better seat and upgraded suspension. The difference is night and day. The ride gets smoother, vibrations mellow out, bolts stop wandering loose, and even the mirrors stay steady. Comfort upgrades don't just make the bike nicer, they actually enhance reliability by keeping the whole machine tighter and happier. And unlike many cruisers that prefer to nap between weekends, the Scout Bobber likes to be used. Ride it often, keep the oil fresh, it'll fire up every time. Neglect it for months, and it'll hold a grudge like an old flame, starting a little rough, coughing a bit, just to remind you who's boss. Once you're back on the road together, it forgives fast. In short, the Scout Bobber isn't unreliable, it's just honest. It gives back exactly what you put in it. Treat it like a trophy and it sulks. Treat it like a motorcycle and it'll run faithfully for years. Here's the part most riders forget. A reliable bike isn't necessarily a cheap one. Reliability often comes from good engineering, quality parts, and consistent maintenance, not from skipping service bills. The Indian Scout Bobber sits comfortably in that middle ground. An oil change at the dealership costs about the same as other mid-sized cruisers, and thanks to its belt drive, you'll save hundreds over the years compared to chain-driven bikes. No messy lubing, no frequent replacements, just clean, quiet durability. Valve inspections can get pricey if done at a shop, but they're spaced far apart, so you won't be seeing that bill often. Insurance costs vary depending on location and rider profile, but maintenance is straightforward and predictable. And that's the real hallmark of a reliable motorcycle. You know what to expect, and the bike rarely throws surprises. Even on the resale side, the Scout Bobber performs well. It doesn't flood the used market like some mass-produced cruisers, so values stay healthy and depreciation is gentle. Fuel economy averages 45 to 50 miles per gallon, and with its 3.3-gallon tank, you're looking at about 120 miles per fill-up. Not ideal for cross-country touring, but more than enough for city rides or weekend getaways. At the end of the day, you're not just paying for a machine, you're paying for dependability wrapped in attitude. The Bobber might not be the cheapest date, but it's loyal, well-mannered, and fun enough that even when something minor goes wrong, you'll probably still be grinning under your helmet. So, let's tackle the question every curious rider eventually asks. Is the Indian Scout Bobber reliable? The short answer is a confident yes. The Scout Bobber isn't perfect, but it's undeniably trustworthy. Its 1,133cc V-twin engine has nearly a decade of hard-earned reputation behind it, tested by thousands of riders across every kind of terrain imaginable. It's not some fragile showpiece, it's a workhorse wrapped in attitude. Owners routinely report the same thing. It just works. It starts every time, it runs consistently, and it doesn't develop mysterious noises that keep you up at night. The drivetrain deserves the same praise. It's simple, sturdy, and designed to last. The 6-speed gearbox feels tight and direct, the hydraulic clutch is smooth and dependable, and that belt drive system, practically maintenance-free. No greasy chains, no constant adjustment, just clean, quiet power to the rear wheel for thousands of miles. Then there's the 2025 update, which introduces a 1,250cc engine and a fresh frame. What really stands out isn't just the performance bump, but Indian's quick handling of early recall fixes, particularly for the display and gear indicator issue. That kind of proactive service shows the company's commitment to reliability, not brushing flaws under the rug, but facing them head-on and fixing them fast. Now, every machine has its quirks. For the Bobber, they're few and far from catastrophic. A bit of heat around the thighs in traffic, a stiff rear suspension that loves to remind you of every pothole, and the occasional fuel pump mood swing on older models. These are minor, predictable issues, not deal breakers. They're easy to fix, and they don't affect the heart of what makes this bike dependable. Think of the Bobber as that reliable riding buddy who never cancels a trip. Sure, they might complain about the weather, but they'll still show up, ready to roll. It's a bike that might not pamper you like a luxury tour, but it'll always have your back, whether it's the daily grind or a spontaneous highway run. Treat it right, change the oil, keep it clean, store it properly, and it'll probably outlive your favorite riding jacket. Neglect it, and it might grumble a bit, but it'll forgive you soon enough. In the end, the Indian Scout Bobber isn't just reliable, it's loyal, rugged, straightforward, and built to ride, not to rest. The Scout Bobber isn't for everyone. It's for riders who want American muscle without constant drama, who appreciate craftsmanship, and who understand that reliability isn't about perfection, it's about trust. So if you're eyeing one, go for it. Swap those shocks, invest in a tender, and learn to enjoy the occasional heat wave under your thighs. If this video helped you make up your mind, hit that like button, share your mileage in the comments, and subscribe for more honest, data-backed bike breakdowns. Because on this channel, we don't just talk horsepower, we talk honesty per mile.